What's up, guys? Mickle here, and we have a whole bunch of very interesting information to go over in this video. First of all, we have some brand new information on why Jay Clayton could have dropped this lawsuit against Ripple and XRP holders. Guys, in this video, I want to go over that as well as the inbound regulatory turf battle between the CFTC and the SEC. Guys, the CFTC is really starting to get aggressive with the SEC. I want to show you what the CFTC commissioner said today because, guys, it looks like every single day we are getting closer to the CFTC taking control of the crypto market. I want to break down why that is so good for us XRP holders. Make sure to stick around for that. Guys, in the second half of the video, I also want to go over some macroeconomics, what's going on in the world right now, because we saw a massive move out of the Bank of England today to actually pivot on their quantitative tightening. Guys, in this video, I want to show you why this is so good for the cryptocurrency market and the stock market in general. But before we get too excited, I still think there was one more Black Swan event, one last shakeout that we need to see before we fully turn this market around. Guys, make sure to stick around till the end of the video to see that. I think this is very important to be paying attention to. Like always, guys, if you're new to this channel or come here all the time, please take a second to hit the like and subscribe button down below. It goes such a long way in helping this channel grow, and it really does mean so much to me. If you guys are ever looking for a good place to buy some XRP, make sure to check out the link for Uphold down in the description below. Uphold is a great exchange and one of my favorite places to buy and sell XRP. With that said though, guys, let's jump right into the video, and I hope you guys enjoy the update. Real quick, guys, MOO-MOO is a fantastic place to buy and sell stocks. MOO-MOO is a regulated exchange with a great interface. MOO-MOO is also helping you buy the dip by giving you 15 free stocks if you sign up with MOO-MOO using the link in the description of this video. Each one of these stocks could be worth up to $2,000. So guys, make sure to check that out if you want some free stocks. So guys, let's start this video off by talking about the elephant in the room, and that is the LBRY case. We are still waiting for a decision in this case. Now guys, this thing needs to come out any day now because trial is supposed to start next Monday, and it is crazy to think that LBRY could go to trial against the SEC on Monday and doesn't even know if it's going to happen or the case is going to go to summary judgment. Now, we need to see a decision in this case by Thursday or Friday, or we are going to trial. The judge already indicated that he does not want this to go to trial. It doesn't mean it won't happen, but we should expect the summary judgment on whether the LBRY token is a security or not this week. Now, this is critical to the Ripple SEC case because if the SEC wins this case against LBRY, it is much more likely that the SEC is going to have the confidence to take the Ripple case the distance. That's because they're going to be able to use the LBRY case to say, hey, look, the LBRY token was called a security in this case, therefore XRP should also be a security. Now, I've already said multiple times, I do not think this is really going to matter in the long run. I think Ripple has compiled enough evidence to really show that XRP is not a security, and at the end of the day, there's no reason the judges in the Ripple case have to agree with the judges in the LBRY case. Either way, though, this is going to be very influential to whether or not the SEC actually settles the Ripple case. That's because if the SEC instead loses the LBRY case and LBRY is called a non-security, well, then the SEC is left gasping at straws. There is no way the SEC is going to have any confidence going after Ripple and their expert legal team if they lose the LBRY case. So we're waiting for this decision to come in. This is going to be huge, and it's going to be big for all of crypto. If LBRY wins, it's really going to pave the road for the CFTC to gain complete control of the cryptocurrency market, and the SEC is going to be left in the dust. LBRY also put out a pretty funny tweet here, and I think it's pretty relatable. They tweeted out, based on the SEC's behavior, there is only 2 legal ways to launch a public blockchain: anonymously in 2019 or with bribery. And what they're alluding to is the only 2 cryptocurrencies the SEC has given any clarity to are Bitcoin, which is founded anonymously, and then Ethereum, which literally bribed the SEC. Guys, this is a pretty bad standard to be setting if you're the SEC, and I think it just shows how absurd this market is right now. With that said, though, the good news is it does look like the SEC is going to get kicked out of the cryptocurrency industry, and that's because the CFTC is finally taking the steps they need to really take control. In an interview earlier today, one of the CFTC commissioners actually said they view Ethereum as a commodity even after the merge. This is very good news because it shows that the CFTC is ready to go toe-to-toe with the SEC. We know that as soon as the Ethereum merge happened, the SEC came out and said, we now view Ethereum as a security, essentially. The CFTC is pushing back against that and said, look, this has no impact on whether Ethereum is a security or not. Ethereum is still a commodity, and our agency is convinced of that. This is really good news because most of the bills we see going through Congress and going through the Senate right now is really giving power to the CFTC. We see Warren Davidson even acknowledging this and saying, look, Bitcoin and Ethereum were already called commodities by the SEC and by the CFTC. There's no reason to be walking back on this. Most tokens out there will be designated to the CFTC as long as we get this legislation passed. In the meantime, though, it's going to come down to cases like the LBRY case, like the Ripple case, to really provide this short-term clarity. Even with bills like Warren Davidson's and Cynthia Lummis's coming down the pipeline, these bills are not expected to even be looked at until late 2023. This is why XRP could be in such a great position if Ripple can beat the SEC, because XRP will be the first cryptocurrency in the United States to have certain clarity in the market. This could be absolutely huge and cause a ton of institutional money to flow into the first bona fide regulated commodity cryptocurrency in the United States. This would be absolutely massive and really pave the road for XRP to become critical infrastructure for our next generation financial system. Now, I want to keep moving and show you something else pretty interesting that we found out today, and that was actually reported by LBRY, and that is that Jay Clayton actually wanted to settle the Ripple SEC case immediately before he left office, but Bill Hinman forced Jay Clayton to push the case through. So I'm not actually sure what to fully make of this yet. It's definitely something pretty interesting because Bill Hinman had a lot closer ties to the Ethereum Foundation than Jay Clayton did. I definitely want to know what you guys think about this down in the comments section below. What I think about this is Jay Clayton really wanted to have a landmark case for his last couple days at the SEC. He was likely fine admitting that XRP was not a security, but Bill Hinman stepped in with his Ethereum connections and said, you need to push this case through. We need to delay XRP. Whether or not he made this explicitly clear to Jay Clayton, we will never know. But this is pretty interesting to me because we're finally starting to gain more information on why the SEC decided to go after XRP. This really never made sense since day one because the SEC already gave a free pass to Ethereum, and anyone with a brain knows that there is no difference between XRP and Ethereum. Overall, though, this is going to backfire big time on Bill Hinman. We saw his public calendar got released yesterday, and guys, with that on the table, it is going to open the door to a whole bunch of investigations to what he was doing when he was at the SEC. I really think it's only a matter of time until the SEC caves on this issue. Things are starting to look really bad for them, and stuff like this is just going to keep coming out as we learn more and more about the origins of this case. So guys, now we're going to move on and talk about some macroeconomics and everything going on in the world right now. Now, if you guys are worried this is just going to get really confusing, don't worry. We're going to keep it simple and just go over the things that you need to know. When is the crypto market going to go back up? What do we need to see happen? And whether or not we are going to have one last Black Swan to create a massive capitulation moment in our markets. Well, first of all, the good news that came out today was that the Bank of England actually pivoted. They're going back to quantitative easing, and as soon as they announced that, the yield on their bonds plummeted. These rising yields are what was really breaking our financial markets and was causing so much money to flow out of cryptocurrencies and equities. The more we see this line go down and the more we see banks all over the world go back to quantitative easing, the better it's going to be for cryptocurrencies. Now, the important thing to note is that this is happening to every single country in the entire world. So a lot of people are thinking that since the Bank of England did this, it's only a matter of time until other central banks all over the world, including the Federal Reserve, also go back to quantitative easing. Now, I fully think that this is what we're going to see. I don't think there is any way we can keep jacking up interest rates because, guys, the more the United States jacks up its own interest rate, the more they increase their own debt. The United States cannot afford to do this. Eventually, they're going to go back to quantitative easing too. It's just a matter of time. And if we take a look at this, this also caused the dollar to fall. This is also critical to happen, guys. The dollar should not be going up this fast, and it's a much bigger issue for the United States than inflation. The dollar keeps going up like this, we are just going to crush countries all around the world, and the United States already proved that the dollar is definitely still the world reserve currency right now, so there is no reason why they shouldn't bring down the dollar a little bit, and that's going to happen as rates continue to go down as countries move back to quantitative easing. All of this is going to be good for the cryptocurrency market, but guys, there is one last thing we need to be paying attention to that could cause one last capitulation moment. Now guys, just to show you where I think we are right now in the macroeconomic cycle, right now we can see that the NASDAQ just double bottomed on the June lows. Now, this is typically not how we see markets bottom. Typically, we see a massive spike in volatility and a sharp correction down before we really turn around in a massive bear market like this, and I'm sure you guys have seen that before. It really doesn't look like to me that this market is just going to create this weird double bottom and go back up. Almost every single massive correction we have seen in the past, there was a massive spike in volatility, a massive rip down before we ultimately turned around. This also typically tends to be the time where the Federal Reserve finally pivots. Guys, the Federal Reserve hates pivoting unless there is a reason. It's because the Federal Reserve doesn't want to be blamed for inflation. They want something else to blame it on, and right now there's really nothing else to blame a pivot on. Everything is holding up decently in the United States, but guys, the Federal Reserve needs an excuse before they break our system. If we keep raising rates, our system will break just like England's just broke, and that is going to be the thing that causes us to give this last leg down. So now let's talk about some potential Black Swan events, and one that has been predicted by the XRP community for a while now. First of all, we know something crazy happened the other day with the Nord Stream pipeline. We don't know exactly who took out this pipeline, but it was likely between one of two countries. One, the United States, and one, a country that starts with an R. I'm not going to say it because I don't want to get this video banned, but if the US did it, it was likely an attack. If the country that started with an R did it, it was likely a false flag, and it's because they want to retaliate. Either way, though, something happened, and either way, I think it's going to cause a retaliation. Well, guys, what would be the perfect way for that country to retaliate after their underwater natural gas pipeline was blown up? Well, what about taking out a United States underwater internet cable? We know different members of the XRP community have been calling for an internet blackout for a while now. The date they have been saying is September 30th. It's right around the corner, and we know that the starter, the false flag, or the attack just happened the other day to preempt this. So guys, let's see what happens. Obviously, I really hope this doesn't happen, but this would be the Black Swan event, some kind of retaliation between that country and the United States to finally cause a massive capitulative moment in our markets and force the Fed to pivot. Either way, though, guys, definitely let me know what you guys think. This is something that I'm going to be paying very close attention to, something that I honestly hate to say it, think is likely. I hope we don't see it, but I do not see the bottom being here, and I think we need one last shock event to really force us to take that last leg down. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for coming. I hope you enjoyed this update. Make sure if you did, you like and subscribe. It means so much, and for now, Mickle out.